start streaming. Do I need to go live on here? No, we don't. We are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Ruiz Weah Talk. My name is Sam, joined by Shreyas, and we're here with your transfer news show. Apologies for being 7 minutes late. Technical issues, as always. Discord just decided to not cooperate with me, which is always the case. But yeah, Shreyas, how are we? It's been a while since you've been on.
Yeah, it's been a while, but quite happy to come on. I thought that maybe in the time that I haven't been on, we can get the Mbeumo deal done.
Nope.
But by the looks of it, things are still at a stalemate. And yeah, besides that, quite happy to be on. The summer is at its peak, and yeah, quite eventful every single day, whether it is football related or non-football related. Something just keeps happening every day.
Yeah, it is indeed. But yeah, we're going to talk a couple of things today. I've not got the fancy graphic Nick's got just because I was sorting out all these technical issues that we had. But yeah, we're going to talk about, of course, Brian Mbeumo, but we'll leave that to the end. Ollie Watkins has been a bit of stuff from that. And we're also going to talk Andre Onana. But the first story I want to talk about is, and I'm sick of talking about this guy, to be honest, Shreyas. Like, I really don't want to talk about him, but he's still in the news. Jadon Sancho. Me and Nick were live yesterday, and there was a bit of news around Jadon Sancho just as we were about to finish, regarding Fabrizio Romano, who said there was a possibility of a swap deal regarding Jadon Sancho coming to Juventus, with the options being Dusan Vlahovic, Douglas Luiz, and Timothy Weah, which is a very interesting thing. Since then, there's been a couple of more pieces that have come out, so I'm going to go through all of those and we'll get into all the details. Juventus general manager Damian Comoli is in talks United for Sancho. They've contacted players' agent to discuss contractual conditions. Jadon Sancho's talks are expected between Man United in the coming hours. This was last night. Muppeteers, Man United prefer cash from Sancho for Juventus, but haven't ruled out a player swap. So there's that there. Juventus are pushing for Sancho. There's been positive contacts with the players. Di Marzio. Jadon Sancho is willing to reduce his wage demands to join Juve. That's from Eurosport, so let's treat that with the sort of regard it is. Damesh says to Sky Sports, Jadon Sancho is open to a move to Juventus. Talks of potential move is described as positive. There's work still to do to find an agreement and more significantly personal terms. United's preference is to do a permanent deal within the asking price of 25 million. His wages, however, another loan move cannot be ruled out. Talks to Sancho or possibly move described as positive. And then, yeah, there's a bunch of other stuff. There was a video that I think has been found out to be an AI where Alfred Padula was said to have saying it was a done deal and it's going to happen, but apparently it's been proved to be fake. Let's go through all this, Shreyas. Let's go through this. Let's, first off, on the swap deal, you think about that deal, there's the three options there. Is there any of them that sort of jump out to you where you go, I would do that deal, I'd swap that, just to, I know we want the cash and we need this stuff, but just to get this dude out of the club and gone, would it be any of those that jump out to you where you go, yeah, I'd have him?
The thing is, a couple of them do jump out to me, but the thing is, the situation with us is so delicate that if we do get the particular player in and, the player comes in through the door and it doesn't work, the pressure piles up even more on you.
Yeah.
So, and at the moment when I look at Juve, there are definitely a couple of players that I do appreciate a lot, and I think that at United they would honestly kill it. But I'm sure Juve are a smart club.
Yeah.
They know which players they want to offload and they don't want to offload. And 9 out of 10 times, the player they do want to offload have never really amounted to anything after moving, from Juve. And especially in recent memory, I haven't heard a player moving on from Juve to another league and actually having a decent time. When I look at Vlahovic, I've been a fan of, but the thing with Vlahovic as well, I would say, is that coming to United, whichever striker comes in through the door, there is a bare minimum expectation of them getting 15 or 20 goals in the league next season. So, does he have that in his locker? Yes. But can he perform for us consistently on the pitch, week in and week out? I'm not quite sure on it. When I look at Douglas Luiz, definitely, Prem proven for sure, has had 2 to 3 brilliant seasons at Aston Villa before moving to Juve, but was quite surprised that he wasn't really able to make a name for himself over there.
Mm-hmm.
Especially after the seasons that he had with Villa. I expected him to play alongside Locatelli, but they stuck with the likes of McKennie, they stuck with the likes of Locatelli, and he hasn't really broken through in that team, even though Juve haven't really had as great of a season last year. Weah is an interesting option because he's someone who can play as that, your attacking wing back. He's someone who can play as that inside 10 as well. But
Mm-hmm.
again, output wise, effectiveness is there. Output wise, he's not quite there yet. He's still quite young. So all three options, they have their pros and cons, but I'm not quite sure that I can say that any of these three players will definitely, as a guarantee, come in and do a brilliant job for us.
Yeah. I look at him and there's like issues with all of them. So like you've touched on a couple of them. Vlahovic, it seems like they've been trying to get rid of him for about 3 years. Like every
Yeah.
summer, I say, but why is nobody coming for him? Like not a top
Even
club
though he gets
anywhere.
even though he's on, getting like 18
Yeah,
or 25 contributions
which
on a season-wide basis,
nobody's
but they've not been able to upload him.
nobody's interested, which worries me. That worries why no club
Yeah.
is interested in him at all. So that worries me. Douglas Luiz, like you said, he was good in the Prem. I think he was really, really excellent, and he's gone to Juve, not quite cut it. Where does he fit in this team though? Like he's not a
Exactly.
6, he's not a 10. Like he's a sort of 8 box to box, but we don't really play like that. So I don't know where he fits in this team. So yeah, it's bad. And then WGMT in the chat has got another sort of good point. Vlahovic is on mental money as well, which is something we need to sort of stay away from.
Yeah.
Then we're replacing Sancho with a high wage with another high wage. So say Timothy Weah, he's an all right player. He's decent, but is he
Yeah.
world class? Is he something that's going to change it? Probably not.
I think
doubt it.
if he does come in through the door, I do see him having more of an impact than Dalot does on that right wing back position.
Yeah.
Because he does have that rapidness. Like
Mhm.
we've seen Dalot on a lot of occasions that he doesn't really have the pace to just get on his
Yeah.
bike and go for the. Weah has got that in his locker. I think when it comes to having that sort of natural attacking intent as well, he's got that in his locker. Quite young, so that definitely falls into Ineos's checklist as well. That he's quite a young player and has got decent potential on him. But again, right now we need output out of these players. So Weah is not someone who I would count on when it comes to output. Effectiveness, he's definitely there, but I think right now our team needs more than just effectiveness.
Yeah. Well, like moving on from that, obviously United want more. They want the cash, which is they were in that need of the cash because if we could shift him, not only his wages make a massive difference to PSI in terms of getting other players in, but if we get a fee for him, that's even better. Like we've obviously got the 5 million we got from Chelsea for not taking him on. If we get 25 million, that's 30 million for a player that arguably is not a part of the plans and never will be, and he's got a year left on his deal, which I think is not too bad. How do we solve this? Like, is it just gonna have to come down to Sancho taking a wage cut and being convinced by the project at Juve to take a wage cut? Because they're not going to pay him 300k a week, are they? Like, it's just not happening.
They're absolutely not going to pay it. And on top of that, I think for him, the better move is to Napoli, honestly. Reason being, with Juve, I don't think he gets as much playtime as he sees himself getting. Because Yildiz is a phenomenal talent.
Yes.
And I don't see any player coming through the door and actually taking his spot away from him because he's honestly a very, very decent player. You've got Conceição on the other side as well, who's also, again, like Yildiz, is quite a heavy and big talent. And I don't know if Sancho has got enough in his locker to displace both of them out of this team.
Yeah.
And when I look at Napoli, they do need wingers. Politano is quite old for them, even though he's, been a decent player for them. Kvaratskhelia has just left them. Neres has been an injury-prone player for them as well. So it's not a position where they've seen consistency since Kvaratskhelia has actually left. So so if he does manage to actually go to Napoli, I think the position will be a lot more safer for him. That he'll definitely be getting a run out for at least 15 to 20 games. And if he performs in even in half of them, his position would be quite secure. Juve are quite a turbulent club. If you go in there and you don't actually, you're not able to actually perform as well, the pressure is going to be massively on you. Some players like Kolo Muani went there and he hit the ground running. That's why people are so hell-bent on actually keeping him. He displaced Vlahovic completely of the team since he's went there.
Yeah.
You look at the likes of Douglas Luiz, for example, moving there. Didn't perform in the first 5 to 6 games. Hasn't really, you've really not heard much of him since then. So I don't know if I want him to be gone. Even if it's Juve, it's good for us, but he definitely have to take a massive pay cut because Juve as well, they're not doing that great financially.
No. Well, they've just signed Jonathan David on a free. I know that he's still got to do his medical and stuff like that, but they've just said that's the kind of deals they go after: free young players, stuff like that. I bet they're still kicking themselves about Dean Huijsen, aren't they? Like the fact that he's gone to Bolton now, he's gone to 50 million to Real Madrid. Like they've got to be fucking kicking themselves. But yeah, it's an interesting thing. We'll keep you up to date, obviously, with Jadon Sancho, and if he does go, because that would be a big weight off our shoulders if we can get him out of the club. Because my God, has this been going on for God knows how many years? So yeah, that'd be a big weight. Let's move on to the next story. Nathan Salt from the Mail has spoken about this. To be honest, we've all sort of spoken about it. I've kind of accepted it, but I've seen a lot of comments on our social media and our YouTube things, and like, oh, why we need to get rid of him? We need to get rid of him. Andre Onana appears to be people at the club accept that he's going to stay this summer. I felt that was always going to be possible because there's so many other people that we need to shift, other players we need to get in. It just seemed like not a priority position for me. How do you feel about it? The fact that it seems like he's probably going to stay this summer.
I've always said this. For me, that goalkeeping area is honestly a big concern because we've seen it on multiple occasions last season as well. That when you concede in the fashion that we did in most of the games last season, it just completely breaks the morale of the team completely.
Yeah.
And we've seen it, since Ten Hag's second season as well as to how much it actually takes away from the team. So it is still definitely a big area, big red flag for me, that goalkeeping position. But I've also always said that if you get someone in through the door, it needs to be someone who can give us more, composure than what Onana actually brings us with. And right now the names that I did here didn't really bring me with that sort of feeling at all. Because it's not a situation that, you just need to get rid of Onana and get completely anyone in. It's not that sort of a situation. You need someone competent enough to actually come in through the door if you do manage to actually, sell Onana and get someone else in. So it is definitely a big problematic area, but you need to spend money wisely. We are still cash, strapped for cash as is, and we cannot really, just shift money around as we please. So if you're getting someone in, you need to make sure that they're good enough to actually carry the weight of that goalkeeping position for Manchester United. And if we can still, if we can get a midfielder in through the door, if we don't get a keeper in, I would take the midfielder in, because there are still a lot of areas in this team that need to be worked at. Absolutely. Maybe Onana can still do a job. I don't know. I hope he does a job for us next season, good enough. But I think if we do get our signings right, make a case for ourselves to fight into top 6 or top 7 next season, I think that's when, the next following season, we might be seeing a new keeper coming in through the door. Because I think first off, you need a midfielder, you honestly need a striker, you honestly need a wing back. These are 3 positions that you need to look at. If you get these kind of signings in, and if we can even explore some sort of a deal in the January window, I'm all for it. But you first need to look at all the grey areas that are already present in this team.
Yeah, I just think, I think they spoke about his book value. I think it's like 35 million or something like that. He's got 3 years left on his deal. He's on a big wage. He doesn't seem like interested in moving. He's bought a house in Manchester and stuff like that. It just doesn't seem interested in going anywhere. So it just seems like a deal that is just, unless Saudi come in, which was rumoured, but they've just pretty much disappeared with it. It just seems like he's not going to go anywhere. And I think just people need to get sort of accept it and just sort of move on with it, and just hopefully we can, like you said, fill in other positions. I'm going to jump into chat and just see what people are saying. When we've signed another player, Onana is gone. We've signed a new goalkeeper, Rashford out permanently. Sancho and Anthony at this club. So yeah, Alan, you're going to be waiting a while. I'm sorry, mate. James McGrogan, all right, Sam Shreyas, you well, gents? Yes, mate. I hope you're well as well. Does that mean Juve value all three of those the same, regardless of transfer length and wages? I mean, obviously they want to get him out. We've spoke on Doug Luiz not playing great there. Vlahovic, they've been
Vlahovic
trying
and
to
Ruiz
shift for
both
years.
have massive wages on there. So
Yeah.
even, want to do as much as they can to get them out of the door.
Yeah. GMT, Lewis is okay, but injury prone. Vlahovic, decent striker, but reality is we want Sancho gone. 20 million, just get him gone. I agree. If we could get the money, just get him gone. Why haven't Smaller Club tried to look for Vlahovic either? I think we answered that. His wages. That's probably why. I want Sancho gone so much I'd take the tea lady to get him out. They fired most of the cafeteria people, mate, so good luck with that one. Only way we get rid of Sancho is if his contract is bought out somehow. But yeah, I don't see that happen. GMT keeper's a shocker, but it's pretty much impossible to move on at the moment. I agree. All very good points in the chat. Thank you very much. Keep them coming. Keep any questions you've got. We'll try and answer them as we move on. Next story, again, a story I'm sick of talking about. Really, really sick of talking about. Brian Mbeumo. Brian Mbeumo, apparently a third bid is going to go in at some point today. It's rumoured. I've not seen anything on it. But I believe the Mail Sport reported on it last night. Let me just try and find it. I've got so many bloody stories in here. It's ridiculous. Marcus Rashford, Anthony, blah, blah, blah. Where is it? Yes, there it is. Manchester United's full focus is pushing the agreement deal for Brian Mbeumo and then pushing for sales which are required to further funds. United expect to make an agreement with Brentford before the 7th of July pre-season training starts. Does this get over the line, Shreyas, before we start pre-season on the 7th of July?
I honestly hope so.
Yeah.
I think we should at least, have 2-3 signings at least on that pre-season tour. At least, because quite glad we got Cunha, done quite soon. But I think Mbeumo needs to come in and at least we get one more signing in. Because I want majority, at least, even if, you're signing just, 4 players or 5 players, at least 3 of them, majority of them should be on that preseason tour.
Yeah.
You cannot go into another season having just 1 or 2 players in the door and then 3 to 4, you're still waiting out on it. And by the time the season starts, you're 3 games in, you get that business done. And you're in the same situation that need to integrate with the team, need to adapt to the team. And I don't want to hear that sort of stuff next season. So you need to get your business right. And I just have a lot of PTSD from Manchester United right wingers for upwards of 65 or 70 mil. The past 3 to 4 signings just haven't really worked out for us. So I just want our money to be well spent. And, with Mbeumo coming in, if he gets us 15, 16 goals next year, I would be quite happy that, we're getting someone who can perform for us on a weekly basis. And we need to get this window right, honestly. If you're not able to get your window right this season, you cannot even imagine how bad it can get for us next year. Cunha in, very exciting signing, Mbeumo in, quite an exciting signing, but these guys have to work.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. I hope it gets done. It seems like we're haggling over a couple of million in the structure of the thing. It seems like, but I do agree. That somebody retweeted a quote for Sir Jim Radcliffe. But I think was it an interview with Andy Mitten or it might have been with somebody else. But he basically said fans get frustrated at transfers taking slow and think we're haggling over a couple of million. But when you do just accept a couple of million here and there, you get taken advantage of and it ends up snowballing like it has in previous years. So I get it. I get why fans are impatient and they're getting annoyed, but I also get it from the other side. We're trying to draw a line in the sand and it's going to be a couple of these transfers where it's going to be taking time because they don't think, whereas Cunha was a release clause. It's we know his release clause, bang, went in, activated, done. That's why it was so quick. So I think that's going to take time, but we'll see what happens. Ollie Watkins. This came out yesterday when me and Nick were on the show. We were talking about it. You've not had your real say on it. But basically, Laurie Whitwell was speaking about how Ollie Watkins, we were speaking to him at the beginning of the year. A phone call has been checked in just to see about his availability. He was obviously put out a bit, wasn't he, at Villa last year, especially when Asensio and Rashford, they seem to play him over that, which is interesting. It was kind of weird for me. I like him as a player, but it just seemed like a weird sort of move for United. But yeah, what are your thoughts on sort of Ollie Watkins possibly signing for Manchester United? Is he the right idea? Premier proven striker. I think the other people who've outscored him are Haaland and Salah. So he's got double digits every season for the last 3 years. Do you like this signing? Is it a good one?
For me, he gives me more credibility than Mateta does.
Yes.
Honestly, like if you compare the two players and what they bring to the table, I think Watkins is more well-rounded because you look at pace, you look at his hold-up ability, and on top of that, you look at his clinicality as a striker as well. I think all of those boxes, he is a better striker in comparison to Mateta, and 29 years old. He's not a young striker, so someone who United definitely need. They need someone who's at that age that can
just
come in and
straight
do a
into
job
the
for
team
us.
and bang, go.
Yeah, because Mateta is also, I think, around 28, 29.
Yes.
So I think people will definitely still need to understand that even if we get these strikers in through the door, you cannot expect them to be around for like 4 to 5 seasons. They're going to come in, they're going to do a job for you like 2, 3 years at the max, and then in the meantime, United needs to look at the right kind of players who can take the mantle on from them, because Watkins has got double digits for the past 5 seasons pretty much now since joining Villa, and I think he's quite a competent striker, honestly. And I think in this system he could work quite well because he knows how to function as the number 9, and he knows how to function alongside, I would say, destructive wingers like Cunha and Mbeumo are, because he's played with the likes of Diaby, he's played with the likes of this season with Leon Bailey. Yeah, Asensio coming in through the door in there as well. Daniel Malin coming in through the door in there as well. So he knows how to function with a variety of profile of wingers. So he's got
Morgan
that
Rogers behind him as well. The idea of Bruno and Cunha and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think he can help the number 10s that we've got to get more spaces inside the box, because he knows how to attract players towards him, and he's quite agile, and mobility wise, pressing wise as well. He's quite decent in all of those areas, which Ruben Amorim really appreciates. So for me, I would honestly take it because he's got European experience as well now, and he's done an exceptional job for Villa. And I would say it's not easy for a striker to get the numbers that he does for, to on a consistent basis for a team like Villa, who have only come around, I would say, for the past couple of seasons, because before it wasn't really a situation where Villa were, consistently finishing in the top 8 or top 6. So he has been one of the factors that they've got to where they have got now.
Yeah, I agree. The Daily Mirror has put a price point out. United are stepping up their interest in Ollie Watkins. United held talks. United want Villa want around 60 million, but United are not willing to pay that much given his age and lack of resale value. How much should United be paying for this sort of deal? I in my head, I think anything above 40 is too much. I think 40 million is the max for my personal, but I don't. What do you think?
For me as well, 35, 40 mil is the max, because you need to account for the age as well.
Yeah.
If other clubs look into our situation and go that he's quite old and we don't want to pay that sort of fee for a player who's that old, the same could be said for Watkins. He's not someone who you can build a long-term project around. He's going to, he's someone who's going to come and do a job for you two maximum 3 seasons, and then he'll be on the decline. So I wouldn't want us to pay around 60, 65 mil for Watkins at all.
No,
I think if United want him, they need to get it done 35 plus 5 in add-ons.
Yeah, no, I think 60 million you can spend that 20 million somewhere else in midfield or wherever you want. I think it's a ridiculous price, but we'll see what develops. No bids gone in, no sort of thing, so we'll see what happens. I've just seen as well, Laurie Whitwell, I listened to Talking to Devils before on Rasmus Højlund. He has said Rasmus Højlund is more likely to leave United this summer than stay as it stands. It would also likely be a permanent sale rather than a loan. Inter Milan are the ones in there firmly interested. What do you make of that? Is that the right decision? Like, you need to get rid of him permanently?
I think we do need to get him out of the club, because I think the players that we've brought in, it's no use to just keep him on the bench and let his value decline even more. I think next season in, Cunha is definitely going to play. Mbeumo is definitely going to play. Ahmad is definitely going to play. Bruno is definitely going to play. Xerxes will definitely be starting ahead of him as things stand. And if you sign Ekitike or Watkins or Mateta or Gyökeres, whoever it is, they're going to be starting ahead of Højlund as it is. So if you've got two players, or possibly Cunha could play in that striker position quite decently as well. So you've got three players ahead of Højlund who play in that position, and you've got no European football on top of that, just the Prem to focus at. So there's only a limited amount of games for your, starting striker to play. And I don't see Højlund getting as many appearances as people might expect. So if his value is only going to decrease even more, it's better to cut your loss and actually move him on. If we can get 25 to 30 for Højlund, I would honestly take it at this point, because getting 10 or 15 for him next year in would be, I would say, more, it would be worse for us, even if we get 25 to 13, because Inter are in a very chaotic state at the moment. Inzaghi has just left, and I think ever since last month is, since that Champions League game, losing out on the Scudetto with Napoli, losing in the Coppa Italia and Champions League and in the Club World Cup as well.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of players actually moving out the door. I think it was Lautaro who came out in an interview and said that the players who don't want to play for the club can just, be on their way out because they don't deserve to wear the shirt.
Calhanoglu's been linked away as well, I think. I've seen that quite
Calhanoglu has been linked. I think the likes of Asilani, there is a player who plays for them in midfield. He's been linked. Dumfries might be on the way out as well as things look, because they want to upgrade in that area. So
did you see that fight? That fight between him and yeah, that was funny. I was like, we're going down the tunnel or we're gonna fight each other. It's like, fucking hell. That was funny. I enjoyed that. I didn't watch any of the game, but yeah, I enjoyed watching that. That was funny. But yeah, I've seen the rumored price for Højlund. Is it like 40 million? I believe, like, if United to not take a loss on PSI, it's 40 million. Is that realistic to get 40 million for Rasmus Højlund?
Too much, especially for someone like Inter who know how to act broke in front of other clubs.
Yeah, they never pay a lot for anybody, did they?
We paid 46 for Onana. So, you can just make it out as to how smart they are when it comes to negotiating and moving along with signings. But I think 30 is something that could still be achieved, because it's not that Højlund hasn't scored at all for United. I think in the first season he's got 16 across all comps, which is quite decent for a young striker. And last year as well did an all right, not a good job at all, but in the group stages of the Europa League he was quite all right. So in Europe he still seemed to be okay-ish if you have to compare it to the league. So Inter do need that sort of freshness in their team. They do need young players in that team, because they've got quite an aging squad. You look at the keeper, you look at the defense, you look at the majority of that midfield, and in the attack as well. I think 3 years in, they'll have to look at replacements. Better to have someone in who can be an understudy to the likes of Thuram and to the likes of Martinez, and can grow alongside them. So in that aspect, Højlund is quite a safe bet. He's played for Atlanta before in the league, so he knows how the league works, and he's quite young. And Inter actually know how to make use of these sort of signings. Actually, a lot of rejects have actually moved to Inter Milan and did quite an all right job for them.
United rejects have gone to Inter Milan and done well. So yeah,
Lukaku's done well, Damian has done well, Mkhitaryan has done well.
Yeah. Ashley Young did as well when he was there. He did decent well. So yeah, it does happen. Final thing in the comments, why your camera zooms in and out constantly, which is weirding me out. I just feel like signing Watkins or Mateta would cement us as a mediocre side, although Ollie's stats speak differently. Yeah, his stats are like really impressive, especially for like what we need. I mean, if Ollie Watkins came in and scored anything near what he's been doing the last 3 seasons, he outscores every single one of our forwards. So yeah, I'll take that.
If he gets there and gets 17 or 18,
he's Rasmus is someone I consider for a loan, fully aware we need sales, but he may do well and improve his stock if he goes back to Italy. It's a good thought. Andy Williams, this window is bleak. Ruben has been set up to fail. I mean, if we don't get in players before the preseason, I agree that they're not giving the manager the backing, because he needs the players in so he can get them bedded in. So I agree with it, but not quite yet. Let's put it this way. Rasmus scored more in his first season than Delap did. It's true, but Delap is going to Chelsea for 30 million. And I don't know what the hell Chelsea are doing, because they're buying forwards and wingers left, right, and centre. I don't understand what's happening there.
I read somewhere that the board actually expects that Chelsea should have at least 9 attackers next season.
Why? Like, why? Like, what's the fucking... I don't see why.
Why do
Like,
they need 9 attackers? I still don't understand. And you look at all their players already in through, they've got Neto, they've got Nicholas Jackson, Delap, they've also got Joao Felix is going to be coming back as well. Quenda they signed as well, I guess. Yeah, for 60 mil around.
Yeah.
They've got Maduiki's, I think.
They just bought Joao Pedro.
Yeah, Joao Pedro is just walked. That's 6 to 7 players already in. I think Raheem Sterling is on his way back as well to the club.
Yeah, he'll definitely go. I don't see. He's not coming back into the team. I think they'll definitely try and sell him, and they'll sell Joao Felix, I imagine, to someone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just weird. Still there. Good, yeah. Well, they're trying to shift him to us, aren't they? They're like trying to get him linked to us. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting window. It's Chelsea are running a madness, Liverpool are running a madness, and then the rest of us are kind of just... Well, Sunderland today, I think Sunderland signed like 4 players today. I saw like there was so many players. So people are running a madness, and then there's teams like us who have signed 1 and they're struggling for the rest.
A decent amount since Joe Bellingham has moved.
Yes,
and they're going to try everything they possibly can to just maintain their spot in the Prem.
And then you've got Arsenal who's struggling. I think Zubimendi got over the line, but then not really doing much else. So yeah, it's interesting. Villa, have they signed anybody? I don't think so. I don't think they've signed anybody.
I haven't really heard much. The only thing I've heard is they are trying to offload as much as they can because of PSR.
Yeah. So yeah, we're not the only club who are not signing stuff. Like, I think comparing us to City and Liverpool is a bit unfair because Liverpool just won the title. They didn't spend anything last year, and they are in the Champions League. So I think if you're a player, you look at that and go, yeah, I'll
pressure wise as well. Liverpool are not in the situation that United are, that they need to get each and every single signing right, and they've got a good enough foundation that most of the players that they sign will actually work out. Like I can still see Words coming in and fitting in quite well in that team.
Kirk as well, I think he'll be good.
Kirk as well. I can honestly already see Frimpong being an absolute star in that team.
Yeah,
so they've got the right players in City as well. Their model is quite efficient.
They sell well. They sell really well. City, like they sell really well. Like that's the key. Like so what was it? Julian Alvarez for 80? Was it 80 million? I think they sold it for.
85 mil to
you can't compete with that. Like you can't compete with that. I think Sunderland have just bought Chelsea's keeper
Petrovic.
Yeah, for like 30 million. We can't get 30 million for Onana. Never mind fucking like Bayinde. They've just sold him for 30 million. Like, how are you supposed to compete with that? It's mad. It's fucking mad. So, yeah, maybe we need to do what Villa did, sell our women's team to ourselves. Can we do that?
Harvey Elliott is being quoted around 50 million. We can't get 50 for Rashford.
Yeah, it's mad. Honestly. It's fucking mad. Absolutely mad, this transfer window. But yeah, final comments that we'll get off. The window isn't bleached due to PSR restrictions. The window only truly opened the other day. Calm down. Yeah, I agree, Gibbs. Like, I'm with you. I'm the same. Still think we should have gone for Job. I don't think we could compete to Joe Bellingham. I think Jude would have told him about United because we tried that last time, and I think he would have gone, nah, don't go there. So, I've seen Geordies and Spurs fans crying about their windows, to be fair. Yeah, like, Newcastle have been rejected by everybody. Like, nobody wants to go there. Like, João Pedro rejected him. Mbeumo's rejected them. Delap rejected them. Ilanga rejected. Like, nobody wants to go there. So, yeah, feel for Newcastle fans. Make Sancho train with the women. I don't think the women want to train with him. I don't think they want to train with him. Who on earth thinks Malacia will take us to the next level? Probably Exeter City, who can't afford his wages. We've had a decade of decline. Can't fix that in one summer. Absolutely, Gibbs. I agree with you, mate. Yeah. But, yeah. That is the news for now. If anything else pops off live, I will try and jump on it and get you a live in Mbeumo, for example. Otherwise, check our social medias. They are over that way near Shreyas' head. TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Go follow us on all those. Real Reds Talk. We're all on those, and that'll be your latest transfer news and all the stuff happening. There'll be a show tomorrow. I won't be on it, but I think Nick will be back. It's Nick's birthday, so if you're watching on the comments or you're in the chat, I want to see happy birthday, Nick, in the comments and in the chat because he is off on his birthday today. It's his birthday today, so please do put that in the chat. Or when he comes back tomorrow, put it in the chat and put it in the comments so you can see it. He'd appreciate that. And then yeah, we'll call it there. Thank you for joining us, Shreyas. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No worries. We'll see you all tomorrow. Peace.